All right, so today we're going to take a deep dive into AI
Okay.
and more specifically, how AI is being used in material science.
That sounds good.
And the sources we have for today are a research article about carbon fiber paper, which is like really cool stuff. They use it in like everything from batteries to spaceships.
Wow.
And we also have a paper about training AI models to like navigate around computer interfaces, so like apps and websites.
So like a tech-savvy ghost.
Yeah, exactly,
Yeah.
like Ghost in the Machine kind of.
Yeah.
So on the surface, these two things sound completely different, but I think there are some pretty cool connections here that we can uncover.
I think so too. They both really involve trying to understand these like complex structures.
Right.
In the carbon fiber paper, it's the actual like physical makeup at a microscopic level.
Mm-hmm.
And then with AI and GUIs, which are graphical user interfaces,
Yeah.
like understanding the structure of those interfaces.
Okay, so let's start with this carbon fiber paper.
Okay.
What is it, and why are scientists getting all microscopic on us?
Well, carbon fiber paper, or CFP, is this super strong and lightweight material. It's like, imagine weaving together strands of carbon that are thinner than a human hair
Wow.
into like a sheet of paper.
Okay.
And it's super useful for things where you need strength and low weight.
Right, so like batteries and spaceships.
Exactly. And the researchers in this article are trying to understand how the structure of carbon fiber paper at this microscopic level affects how it works when you like squash it.
When you squash it.
Yeah, like compress it,
Yeah,
because
yeah.
think about it, inside those batteries and fuel cells that we talked about, the CFP gets compressed. And how it acts under that pressure impacts how well it conducts electricity
Yeah.
and lets gases through.
Okay, so it's not just the carbon fibers themselves, but how they're all arranged and like what's holding them together.
Yeah, you got it. It's kind of like building a house.
Okay.
It's not just about the bricks themselves, it's about how you lay those bricks and the mortar that's binding them and the overall design. So with carbon fiber, paper scientists are trying to understand that like architecture of the material.
But on a super tiny scale.
Super tiny.
So how do they even see something that small? I mean, are they using like some crazy powerful microscopes or something?
They're actually using this really cool technology called X-ray computed tomography, or X-ray CT.
Okay, that sounds intense.
It's way more advanced than your typical X-ray.
Okay,
So with a regular X-ray, you just get like a flat image, right?
right.
But X-ray CT lets you see the internal structure in 3D. It's like taking slices of the carbon fiber paper with X-rays and then using a computer to like piece those slices together into a 3D model.
So they can see like all the nooks and crannies of the carbon fiber paper.
Precisely.
That's wild.
It is pretty cool.
So where does AI come into all of this?
This is where it gets really interesting.
Okay.
The researchers used this machine learning technique called a 3D U-Net algorithm to actually analyze those X-ray CT scans. And get this, they were able to tell the difference between the carbon fibers and the binder that holds them together with like 98% accuracy.
98%.
Yeah, that's incredible. But what's so groundbreaking about separating those images?
Well, they've essentially created this digital twin of the carbon fiber paper.
A digital twin.
That's so accurate, they can actually run simulations and experiments on it without having to create physical prototypes.
Oh, wow.
So imagine being able to tweak the arrangement of the fibers or the amount of binder and see how it affects the material,
All virtually.
all virtually.
So instead of like mixing up batches of carbon fiber paper in a lab, they can just experiment on this digital model.
Exactly.
That seems like it would speed up research and development like crazy.
It totally does. This kind of AI-powered modeling could revolutionize material science
Wow.
because researchers can test out new designs and optimize materials way faster.
So we're not just talking about understanding materials better, we're talking about like designing new materials with specific properties. Absolutely. By analyzing these existing materials, they can get insights into how those tiny structures contribute to the material's overall behavior.
Okay.
And then they can use that to create new materials that are stronger, lighter, more conductive, you name it.
Like reverse engineering nature's best designs and then improving on them.
Exactly.
Okay, so now I'm really starting to see the potential here. But before we get too carried away with carbon fiber dreams,
Okay.
let's talk about this other research on AI that can interact with graphical user interfaces.
Okay.
How does that tie into all of this?
Both of these papers are about understanding these complex structures and using that to achieve a goal.
Okay.
So with CFP, it's the physical microstructure.
Right.
But with AI and GUIs, it's the visual structure of those interfaces, like the buttons and menus and icons.
So both fields are about breaking down this complexity, finding patterns, and then using that information to build something better.
You got it. And just like the scientists analyzing the carbon fiber paper, researchers working on AI are trying to figure out how those visual structures and GUIs translate into actions and outcomes.
So instead of analyzing carbon fibers in binder, they're looking at pixels in code.
In a way, yes, but instead of trying to build a stronger material,
Yeah.
they're trying to build AI that can understand and navigate interfaces just like humans do.
So we're talking about AI that can use our apps and websites for us.
Right.
What are these GUI agents all about?
GUI agents are basically AI systems that can interact with those graphical user interfaces just like you and I.
Okay.
You can click buttons, scroll through menus, even input text.
That sounds pretty sci-fi, but
Yeah.
how do you even teach an AI to understand what it's like seen on a screen
Yeah,
and then take action? I mean, a button is just a bunch of pixels to a computer, right?
that's exactly the challenge. And it's not just about recognizing those visual elements.
Okay.
These researchers are trying to train these agents to complete tasks in environments that are like constantly changing. Like, think about an online shopping cart that updates as you add items.
Right.
So the AI needs to be able to understand how the interface can change based on what the user is doing.
So it needs to be adaptable.
It does, and that's why they've developed a system called OS Genesis that combines a couple of different techniques.
Okay.
So first, they use what's called a rule-based exploration approach,
Okay.
which basically lets the AI experiment within the GUI and learn the basic rules of how to interact with it.
So it's like letting a kid loose in a playroom to figure out how the toys work.
Exactly. The AI is playing around and learning by trial and error.
But that seems like it would take forever for it to learn.
That's where the second part comes in.
Cool.
They combined that rule-based exploration with the power of large language models.
Like GPT-4.
Like GPT-4, exactly. And these models have a vast understanding of language and context, and they can actually help guide the AI.
So it's like having a mentor who's already mastered the GI.
Exactly. And to make sure that the AI is learning useful skills,
Yeah.
they've incorporated something called a trajectory reward model, or a TRM.
Okay, a TRM.
Yeah, and this basically rewards the AI for exploring actions and sequences that will probably lead to it completing a task successfully.
So it's like a coach giving you points for practicing the right moves.
Yeah, exactly.
So we've got this combination of hands-on experience guidance from a language model and a reward system to keep the AI focused.
Mm-hmm.
Sounds like a pretty comprehensive training program.
It is, and the results are actually really impressive.
Okay.
They found that this system, OS Genesis, outperformed other training methods, especially when it came to tasks that required planning and decision-making within the GI.
Wow. So we've got AI that can analyze the microscopic structure of materials to design better batteries.
Right.
And we've got AI that can learn to navigate complex digital interfaces like a pro.
Yeah.
Two very different challenges, but a shared focus on understanding structure and using that to achieve a goal.
Exactly. And what's really cool is that the insights from one field could actually inform and inspire the other.
Wait, are you saying that studying carbon fiber paper could lead to breakthroughs in how we train AI?
It's definitely possible, for example, those insights about binder distribution in carbon fiber paper
Right.
could maybe be applied to understanding how different elements within a GUI are clustered or interact with each other.
So we could use knowledge about the physical world to improve how AI interacts with the digital world.
It's a really fascinating possibility, and as we continue to explore these fields, I think we're going to find even more surprising connections and possibilities.
It's a really exciting time to be at the intersection of material science and AI.
I agree.
Well, that wraps up part one of our deep dives.
Yeah.
We've explored the microscopic world of carbon fiber paper and the potential of AI to master graphical user interfaces. But we're not done yet.
Nope.
In part two, we're going to delve into the potential applications and implications of these technologies and explore how they might reshape our world in the years to come.
I can't wait.
Stay tuned. So thinking about these GUI agents, like, where do you see this tech having the biggest impact in the near future?
Well, I think automation is going to be huge. Imagine AI that can navigate like all this complex software, right?
Right.
And just handle all these tasks that humans have to do now. Clicking, typing, dragging, think data entry or scheduling appointments, even like customer service interactions.
So instead of us getting bogged down in all the digital minutia,
Exactly.
we can just tell the AI what we want, and it does it all
That's the
in
idea.
the background.
Yeah,
I can definitely get used to that.
right.
But wouldn't all that automation lead to job displacement?
That's definitely something to consider.
Yeah.
It's a valid concern, but it's important to remember that like throughout history, right?
Right.
Technological advancements, They often create new jobs,
Mm-hmm.
even as they displace others.
Right.
The key is adaptation and retraining,
Okay.
like making sure that workers have the skills they need
Mm-hmm.
to succeed in this changing landscape.
So it's more about preparing for the shift rather than fearing it.
Yeah.
Seeing AI as a tool that helps us,
Right.
not replaces us.
Think of it as a collaboration.
Okay.
AI can handle all those boring, repetitive tasks.
Right. The rule-based stuff.
Yeah, and that frees up humans to focus on the more creative, strategic, interpersonal parts of their jobs.
So working smarter, not harder.
Exactly.
Makes sense. But we've talked about some potential benefits.
Right.
What about the risks?
Of course.
Any downsides to these GUI agents that we should be thinking about?
Well, with any powerful technology, there are always downsides, right?
Right.
One thing that comes to mind is security.
Okay.
We got to make sure these AI systems are secure,
Yeah.
can't be manipulated or hacked.
Yeah, because imagine if a GI agent designed to manage financial transactions fell into the wrong hands.
Not good.
No, not good at all.
Oh.
So how do we ensure that these GUI agents are trustworthy?
It's a multifaceted challenge.
Okay.
We need to, build robust security measures into the systems,
Okay.
from the very beginning, to make sure they're resistant to hacking.
Okay.
But we also need rigorous testing
Right.
and auditing processes.
So build in the safeguards and try to anticipate any threats.
Exactly. And it's not just about the tech itself,
Okay.
but the people who are developing and using it, right?
Mhm.
We need to foster a culture of responsibility
Yeah,
and ethical awareness in the AI community,
I like that.
making sure that safety and security are top priorities.
Okay, but let's zoom out for a sec.
Okay.
We've talked about automation and some potential risks.
Right.
But what about the bigger picture?
Mm-hmm.
The broader societal implications of AI and advanced imaging? Like what's being used to analyze carbon fiber paper?
Well, one of the biggest implications is that it could really accelerate scientific discovery and innovation across tons of fields.
Mm-hmm.
Imagine being able to analyze and understand materials, systems, processes
Right.
at a level of detail that we couldn't even dream of before.
It's like having a superpower, right?
Exactly.
Being able to see things that were invisible before.
Yeah, and this ability to gather and analyze so much data with the help of AI is already transforming fields like drug discovery
Okay.
and material science.
Yeah, we're seeing it happen.
We're seeing it happen. It's letting us find patterns, make connections, generate insights.
That we never could have found on our own.
Exactly.
So it's not just about the speed, but the potential to unlock completely new areas of research.
Exactly. Think about it. We're not limited by what we can see anymore.
Yeah.
AI is extending our perception,
Wow.
letting us see into the microscopic world or the cosmic realm.
Pretty profound stuff.
It is.
But with all this talk about AI's capabilities, are we worried about it taking over scientific discovery?
It's important to remember that AI is a tool,
Okay.
a very powerful tool, but still guided by human researchers.
Right.
The key is finding the right balance,
Okay.
using AI's strengths, but keeping humans in control.
So it's a partnership, not a takeover.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Humans set the agenda, they interpret the results, and make the decisions.
AI just helps us along the way.
Exactly. AI can analyze data and generate hypotheses,
Right.
but it's still up to humans to ask the right questions, design experiments, interpret the findings.
Okay, so we're still calling the shots.
We are.
That's reassuring.
Right.
So it's about harnessing AI's power without losing sight of the human element.
Absolutely.
The creativity, the curiosity, the critical thinking.
Those are things AI can't replicate.
Exactly. And those are the things that drive scientific progress.
Absolutely.
Speaking of limitations,
Yeah.
I remember reading in the article about the carbon fiber paper that thicker samples didn't behave as expected.
Oh, right. You're talking about those distinct regions they observed within the compressed CFP.
Yeah.
So in the thinner samples,
Yeah.
the binder, the stuff that holds the fibers together was more evenly distributed.
So it was all nice and uniform?
Yeah. But in the thicker samples, they noticed something interesting.
Okay. What
The binder, it tended to concentrate more on the surfaces.
Okay.
So they called that a transitional surface region.
Yeah, a transitional surface region.
Yeah. And this region behaved differently under compression compared to the core.
So even though it was the same carbon fiber paper, the way the binder was distributed changed how it reacted to pressure.
Precisely. And this uneven distribution in the thicker samples could actually lead to less predictable behavior under compression,
Oh, wow.
which could affect things like its permeability to gas and its electrical conductivity.
So it's not just about what a material is made of.
Right.
It's how the components are arranged.
At the microscopic level.
Yeah, that's fascinating.
It is.
It makes me wonder if those insights about regional behavior and component distribution
Yeah.
could be applied to other materials as well.
That's a great question, and one that researchers are definitely exploring.
Okay.
It's becoming more and more clear that understanding the microstructure of materials is like super important
Yeah.
for predicting how they'll perform and designing new materials with better properties.
That makes me think back to the analogy we drew earlier about the carbon fiber paper and the structure of GUIs.
Okay.
Could those insights about regional behavior and uneven distribution have any implications for how we train AI to understand and navigate GUIs?
That's really interesting. Could we train AI to identify and analyze distinct regions within a GUI?
Okay.
Just like how the researchers found that transitional surface region?
Mm-hmm.
Maybe by understanding how different elements in a GUI are clustered or distributed, AI could actually learn to predict how the interface might change or behave
Wow.
based on different user actions.
So we could use knowledge from the physical world,
Yeah.
the microscopic world of materials,
Right?
to improve how AI interacts with the digital world.
Exactly.
That's pretty mind-blowing.
It's a really cool possibility, and I think there's so much potential for these two fields to learn from each other.
It's like these unexpected connections across different fields
Yeah.
that lead to the most groundbreaking discoveries.
I agree.
This has been such a thought-provoking conversation.
It has.
We've explored the microscopic world of materials, the potential of AI to transform our digital interactions,
Yeah.
and even touched on some of the bigger societal implications of these technologies.
Right.
But we're not done yet.
Nope.
In part 3, we'll wrap up with some final thoughts, and as always, leave you with a question to ponder.
That's good.
Stay tuned. All right, so we're back for the final part of our deep dive.
Okay.
Looking back, it's amazing to think about how far we've come just in this conversation.
Yeah, it's been quite a journey.
Definitely. So before we wrap things up, there's one more thing I wanted to touch on from the AI paper.
Okay.
They mentioned something called OS World and Web Arena.
Oh, yeah. Those are basically testing grounds for these GUI agents.
Testing grounds.
Yeah, you can think of them as like virtual obstacle courses for AI.
Okay.
They're designed to really challenge the AI's ability to navigate and complete tasks.
So you're putting these AI agents through their paces.
Exactly, to see how well they can adapt to new interfaces and handle all kinds of different scenarios.
Okay, so what kinds of tests do they put them through?
So OS World is all about tasks within a simulated Android phone environment.
Okay, so like using apps, making calls, sending texts.
Yeah, things like that. And then Web Arena is more focused on challenges within web browsers.
Okay.
So things like filling out forms, online shopping, navigating websites.
So the AI needs to be able to handle both like mobile and desktop environments.
Right, because the goal is to develop agents that can adapt and learn in all sorts of digital spaces.
That's a pretty tall order.
It is, but the results are promising.
Oh, yeah.
The agents trained with that OS Genesis system,
Right.
they actually did really well in both OS World and Web Arena.
Wow, so they can generalize their skills to new situations.
Yeah, it seems like they can.
That's really impressive.
Yeah,
It seems like we're moving towards a future where AI can just seamlessly interact with our digital world,
I think so.
handling all sorts of tasks just like we do. But with all this talk about what AI can do,
Yeah.
it's important to remember the human element.
Yep.
How do you see the relationship between humans and AI evolving as this technology keeps advancing?
That's a big question.
It is.
I think it's about collaboration.
Okay.
AI helping us, augmenting our capabilities.
But not replacing us.
No, I don't think so. I think it's more about AI taking care of routine tasks.
Yeah, the stuff we don't really want to do anyway.
Exactly. And that frees us up to focus on more creative and strategic work.
Okay, so it's like each side focusing on their strengths.
Yeah, exactly. AI brings the data processing and efficiency,
Okay.
and humans bring creativity, critical thinking, emotional intelligence.
The things that make us human.
Precisely.
So how do we make sure this collaboration actually benefits everyone?
Well, I think transparency is key.
Okay.
We need to understand how AI systems work.
How they make decisions.
Exactly, and what their limitations are.
Mm.
We also need to focus on education.
Okay, making sure people have the skills to work with AI.
Exactly. And maybe most importantly, we need to think about ethics. From the very beginning when we're designing and using these technologies.
So it's not just about the tech itself, but the human impact.
We need to make sure AI is used responsibly.
For the benefit of everyone.
Exactly.
Well, this has been an amazing conversation.
Yeah, it really has.
We've explored the microscopic world of materials.
We've seen how AI can master our digital world.
And we've even touched on some pretty big questions about the future of technology and society.
And the future of humanity.
Exactly. So as we wrap up this deep dive,
Mhm.
I want to leave you with one final thought.
Okay.
If AI can learn to navigate something as complex as a graphical user interface,
Yeah,
what other human skills might it be able to master in the future?
that's a good question.
And how will those advancements change our relationship with technology and with each other?
I don't know, but it's exciting to think about.
It really is. So thank you for joining us on this incredible journey.
It's been a pleasure.
Until next time, keep exploring, keep questioning, and keep diving deep into the fascinating world all around us.
Disclaimer, as an AI-generated content channel, we strive to provide accurate and up-to-date information to our viewers. However, please be advised that due to the nature of our content generation process, some of the information we provide may be misleading or incorrect. We strongly encourage our viewers to use our content as a starting point for their own research and to consult with relevant professionals before making any financial or business decisions. We are committed to constantly improving our AI system to ensure the highest quality of information possible, but we cannot guarantee the accuracy or completeness of the information provided. Thank you for your understanding.